Peace, family. This is Tariq. Welcome back again for another day, another episode of Knowledge Corner. All right, today's insight: don't make a show out of your pain. Don't make a show out of your pain. I get this from the song Sideshow by Blue Magic. This is another Blue Magic song off of their debut self-titled album that was released in March of 1974. If you've ever heard the song is about someone presenting their pain and their sadness, to the world, and the analogy is a circus, um, i.e. sideshow. So let the sideshow, begin. But I see a lot of people online, um, through numerous social media platforms who live their lives online. They post about everything that happens to them. They'll be in a relationship today, and then tomorrow they won't be in a relationship, and then they're dragging the person they were in a relationship in. And I just believe that some things should be left private. When you're dealing with matters of the heart, those things should be done in private. You should not present that to the world, especially to people who are on social media, because a lot of times people don't care if you're going through something or not. It's just entertainment for them, i.e. sideshow. So let the sideshow begin. I have a friend that I've known since college. He puts any and everything online, and sometimes for a while I would like call him. I'm like, bruh, like, why are you putting this like on Facebook, or why are you putting this on Instagram? Like, why are you doing that? He's like, oh, I'm just doing it for engagement. But you post things about your divorce, you post things about being homeless, you post things about this, you post things about that. It's like, bruh, a lot of these people don't care what's going on in your life. They're just there for the entertainment factor. And I'm not that type of dude. Like, I could be going through something and you would never know it, because I'm not going to post it online. Because again, as I said, I believe some things should be done in private. Matthew chapter 6, verse 6. But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. Again, don't make a show out of your pain. There are things that you should do in private. Dealing with, again, matters of the heart are things that you should handle in private. And if you believe that you actually need to speak to someone professionally, go do that. Go seek counseling. But putting that online for people to see is just not the move. You have people who are in and out of relationships, and it's like people see that. They see that, you were in a relationship with this person, and then a week or two later, you're bashing them. But like 2 weeks ago, you was all in love. You open yourself up to criticism when you put things in public. So don't make a show out of your pain. Surah Hud, Al-Hud. This is the 11th chapter or surah in the Quran. This is the 115th verse or ayat in this book. Not so do those who show patience and constancy and work righteousness. For them is forgiveness of sins and a great reward. When you're going through something, a lot of times you have to sit in those emotions. Sometimes you have to sit in those feelings. That is the patience and the constancy that this verse is actually talking about. One of my youngest daughters was in therapy for a while. And her therapist said that a lot of younger children don't know how to deal with their emotions because everything that they've done up until this life has been so instantaneous. You know, when you look at, kids who have iPads, you get on the iPad, you're able to pull something up right then and there. You don't have to wait. When I was a kid, Saturday mornings was the move for me, because I would wake up Saturday morning and I would get me a big bowl of cereal and I would sit in front of the TV and watch cartoons all day. Now, kids don't have to do that. All their cartoons are at a fingertip, touch for them. All they got to do is tap it and it's on. A full season of a show. Whereas when I was a kid, when I was their age, you literally had to sit in front of a TV for weeks on end in order to see a full season of a show. So because everything happens so quick for them, when they are dealing with an emotion, they don't know how to process it, because all they want is for that feeling to be over. And God doesn't want that feeling to be over for you yet. He wants you to sit in it. He wants you to understand why you feel the way you do. Don't make a show out of your pain. You end up having to make a conscious effort to understand, why is God doing this to me? What is it that God wants me to learn from this situation? Because at the end of the day, everything we do is a learning experience. And one thing I know for sure, if you don't learn that lesson, you're going to continue to go through whatever you're going through until God says, okay, he's learned or she's learned their lesson. Now it's time to move on. So again, you have to sit in your pain. You have to sit in those feelings in order for you to fully understand what God is wanting you to learn from this situation. Ask God. Pray. Again, I said Matthew 6:6. Go behind closed doors. Pray to God. Figure out, what am I supposed to learn from this situation? Even Jesus, when he was on the cross, he asked God, why are they forsaking me? What did I do? Why am I going through what I'm going through? Even though he knew his time was coming, he still in the moment still had that pain of having to go through everything that he was going through to die for humanity's sins. He still asked the Father, why have thou forsaken me? So again, you as a human being are not above, feeling the way you do. I'm not saying that you need to cut off your feelings. I actually empathize with a lot of people on how they feel, because there's been a lot of times in my life where I never got the empathy that I give to other people. So I had to sit in all of those feelings and all of that pain by myself and process everything on my own. But that's made me a stronger person, because I was able to do that. So again, don't make a show out of your pain. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and positive energy activates constant elevation. Peace.